come to give you an update on the elections, what God is saying, what God has said, what is going to happen, and what is busy happening, so that we can also go and look back at the election prophecy that I released. I think it's got right now over 160,000 views already. I think maybe 165,000 views. That's on this YouTube channel. You can go and watch. And it is and I gave very specific information, details, wording in that prophecy that will indicate as to what is happening right now, but also what the church should be doing. And I'm going to get a little bit into that right now. So I want to ask everybody on here right now, as I'm about to start, I see people are jumping on. Press the thumbs up button for me on a vertical live. How you do it, on the right top or the left top of the screen, you will see three dots. Click on those three dots, and once you click on those three dots, you'll see a thumbs up button. Click that for me immediately, or a like or a thumbs up button. But first, click on those three dots at the right and the left top of your screen. Do it for me quickly, immediately, guys. Thank you so much. Let's get this out. So what is God saying? So everybody's waiting in anticipation. I believe it is incredible, or it's great, that the ANC has lost majority. When we were prophesying, we said we saw that ANC is going to lose a bit of ground. We saw, and then I brought up very specific names in the prophecy, and I made a statement. I said it might look like nothing is happening, and ANC is still in power, but behind the scenes, the wheels are turning. So I'm going to say it again, and I will make an actual video that would reference to my prophecy, just as an update of fulfillment. So I said it might look like ANC is still in power, but now this video we did it's 165,000 views already. It might look like the ANC is in power, but God is saying the wheels are beginning to turn and things are going to change. So the next election is most probably going to be the most important one of South Africa since 1994. And we began to mention names, and I said the ANC will begin to lose ground. We also said that do not underestimate Zuma, do not underestimate Malema. Pray against the joining. Remember, I very specifically said pray against two flags becoming one. Now, that was specific wording I used in relation to a coalition that will take place. Two things, either two parties becoming one or a coalition that will take place. Now, there are good coalitions and there are bad coalitions. I think it was 2 days ago, the news was all over. I want my team to listen to this. It was 2 or 3 days ago, the news were all over about a coalition between the ANC and the EFF? I think it's the ANC and the EFF, but all over the news, it was all over, saying that there's a possible coalition that might take place there. Now, the more they lose, that possibility might run out. But I specifically gave warning. I said, let the church pray against two flags becoming one. I said the ANC will still stay in power. And I said that, but these things can change. And then I gave an update on the prophets. I said these things can change if the nation knows what to do and what to pray. But God gives prophets foresight and insight. And as God gives prophets foresight and insight, he will tell them who will be president. And we can tell you who will be president, so that the church can pray for that individual. Not to be removed, but for that individual to be touched and changed by the power of God. Well, everybody's on, you guys. I'm going to get your comments right now. Do me a favor. Everyone, I say of 180 live, or my phone might be a little bit behind, but go to the top right or top left of the screen, click on the three dots for me, and there you will find, once you click on the three dots, you will find a thumbs up. Click on the thumbs up quickly for me. I want everybody to do it for me. Click on the thumbs up, but you must first click on the three dots. It's either at the top right or the top left of your screen. Now on YouTube, for some reason, it's very shaky. I need to see why it does that, so just ignore that. But click on those like buttons. Thank you so much, guys. I want to see the likes going up. So it really just spreads, makes it go viral. As I said, our previous election prophecy went 165,000 views. I think it's the biggest one I've seen in relation to a prophecy in South Africa, except for another one, outside of another one, but that's somebody that's not in South Africa. So the elections is very interesting, and what has made it clear thing that I said, keep an eye on Zuma. And I said, watch out for Zuma. I am not a racist person because I also said in the prophecy, Malema will be president. Malema's star and destiny that God has given him is to one day be president. So what is the prophet saying to the church? The prophet is saying, listen, God is saying, I'm giving you a heads up of who will come. So now it is the church's job to pray for that individual, knowing what the future holds. Prophets, it's not the prophet's job only to change what is happening. It's the prophet's job also to bring foresight, insight, foretelling, forthcoming. Then there's forthcoming in that. Those are the metamorphosis, the structure of the science of prophecy. But saying Malema will be president. So what people will have to look out for the next election is Zuma / Malema, those two. I can tell you some more individuals that are being groomed for presidency even as we speak right now. But right now the eyes need to be upon Malema. There will be a contract that is going on behind the scenes, and there'll be agreement. There's already been agreement, and but the people of South Africa does not have to fear. And I want to say this as a prophet, because people listen to me in part, not in whole, and it's not my responsibility when people choose to listen in part and make a judgment even before they know. Now I've heard prophets of doom and prophets of gloom speaking about saying that God is judging the nation, God is judging the church. Listen to me, God is not judging the church. The church has been judged on the cross already. Sin has been judged, and God's wrath has been poured out upon the cross already. God is no longer mad at you, he's mad about you. Okay, we are in the place of a new covenant. The good news, the too good to be true news, truly too good to be true news. It is we are in a place of God is not judging the church. So people that are coming saying, judgment is starting in the house of a God, don't make your biasness as a prophet other people. Don't make your anger as a prophet God's anger. Your anger as a prophet is not God's anger. It is our duty to represent the nature and the heart of God accurately and correctly. So what is God's heart for the nation of South Africa? To prosper, yes. Will it be under a Christian government? No, it won't. You don't get a thing such as a Christian government. You might have a godly leader, but you don't get a Christian government. No Christian government can run a nation, but a godly leader can. But that godly leader will have to have wisdom to understand how to actually run a nation. Now, if you have one seat in parliament, you don't know how to run a nation. So we need to understand wisdom. So what does the church have to do? The church have to apply wisdom on how to pray for the future of the presidents that the prophets are saying will be in power. So what are the names? We look at names such as Zuma. We look at names, and when I say Zuma, he will be I'm not saying he will be president, but he will be a crucial impact leader and an influencer that is going to be influencing politics in the coming years to come. That is not the threat so much. Then Malema's going to come in. What does the church have to do? Pray for him. The church judge without knowing a man. The church judge without knowing a man. Pray for him. Now that we know, what does the church have to do? Imagine every church can just pray and love on him and pray for him. Imagine what that would do to his heart. Doesn't matter if they're using the stages of the churches as political agendas and so. That doesn't matter. The church has prophets. Prophets give the future. Prophets declare God's heart and give prediction so that the church can know which direction to take and how to pray. So yes, my prophecy stands as I've prophesied on how the election will come out. The ANC will lose a bit of ground. Pray against two flags becoming one. That has already come into fulfillment. The threats on the newspapers, I said you will see it on the newspapers. And ANC will hold this one still, but the wheels has begun to turn. So even though it looks like ANC is in power, I said they're not going to be. The things are beginning to change. And the next election is going to be the most important one since 1994. So what is happening? A lot of independent parties are rising up, and we are most probably going to see the shuffling out of the ruling party completely by independent parties coming together That is one side of the coin. But the other thing that I saw as a prophet was two flags becoming one. I saw Malema as president. And what am I saying? Am I pronouncing a curse over this nation? No. I'm telling you what I'm seeing. It is irrelevant whether people believe whether I'm a prophet or not. I'm just releasing it on here for the sake of record keeping. No, we are not in trouble. The nation of South Africa is, in fact, going to be set up to become very prosperous. The nation of South Africa is going to be a safety point. The nation of South Africa, big noise. Listen, there's a difference between political games and getting attention and what is actually happening. So what is happening right now when you see this one screaming and this one shouting, that, guys, that is just playing the game. And that stirs up people's emotions and so on. That's just a political game. What about Moheng being president? The Lord hasn't spoken to me, haven't told me nothing about that. I'm just being honest. I think a lot of prophets are biased and opinionated. A prophet should be void of any biasness and of personal opinion. A prophet must be void of personal opinion. A lot of times we can like a Christian party, or we can like this one and that one, and we prophesy according to that. That is prophesying from our own hearts, is prophesying biasness and with our personal opinion. That's not what God is saying. We saw it happening in America, and we shouldn't make the same mistake here. So yes, I'm not the most favorite, most liked prophet because of what I'm saying, because every white person is against me, because I'm saying Malema will be president. This is not about skin color. It is not about races. It's got nothing to do about culture. It's got nothing to do about that. It's about what God says and what God reveals. What God says and what He reveals. So He has revealed to the church who will be president one day. And I told you, watch the name Zuma, watch Malema. I said, pray that two flags don't become one, and you will see a flag with a hand, with a fist. People then told me the EFF has a fist. That was not entirely the fist that I've seen. I'm just being honest. So I didn't even have them in mind. That's not what I had in mind in my spirit or what I've seen. There might be another one that is coming. But pray against two flags becoming one. The wheels have been put into action. So this has shifted the ANC from majority, and unless if they go into coalition, which I think might be highly unlikely. I think so. Now, this is not prophecy. I think it might be highly unlikely. Because if they're going to drop below 40, it's going to be highly unlikely. But do not fear. South Africa, meaning God is saying, do not fear what is happening. Do not fear about food. Do not fear about money. Do not fear about a genocide. Those things won't happen. As long as the country is open to the Lord and the church does their job and the church begins to embrace prophets. Because right now the church is not embracing prophets, and they're trying to go on their political agendas. And they're not going to find out what is God saying. So pastors are trying to be prophets. Apostles are trying to be prophets. Teachers are trying to be prophets. And they're all going and they're saying, no. Let us say what God is saying, and let us say who must be in government. Go to the prophets. Really, go to the prophets. There are not many in this nation, but go to the prophets. Who you believe can truly hear from the Lord. Can be anyone. I'm sure there's a couple in the nation. Go and hear what the prophets are saying. Make sure they have a ministry that is public. Make sure they have a ministry and a track record. Go to the prophets, hear what they are saying, and let those words be weighed up. It doesn't mean that is what God is saying. Only reason I'm coming on here, people are like, this is false. Let the prophets judge my prophecy. I'm not going to let a pastor or a teacher. Let prophets come and judge my prophecy. Prophets judge prophecy. Not pastors, not teachers, not apostles. Prophets. Paul make it very clear and gave us the structure in the book of Corinthians. Let the prophets judge one another's prophecies. So pray for the nation, but I believe people are fearful for nothing. I see a better thing coming when it comes to load shedding. And I know I'm speaking very controversial right now. I'm not saying tomorrow, I'm not saying next year, but I see a better thing coming when it comes to load shedding. I see many independent parties that will rise up that is going to shake the ruling party. And possibly we might see a toppling. That is one side. That's not what God has shown me. I'm just putting practically, and we might see a toppling from the independent parties if there's a coalition ever coming to pass, to the majority, to the ruling party, if the ruling party drops too low. And that is what we might see next elections, unless if there's a joining of two flags. Not sure if this is the EFF and the ANC, not sure if it's the EFF and all the other independent parties. I'm not exactly sure what is happening, but I saw two flags becoming one, and the Lord is saying the church has to pray against that when you see that sign. And now 3 days ago on the news, it was revealed. So I'll be posting those articles. We'll be posting that prophecy on both an article that'll explain what I said with the news articles, and we'll also do a video so that you can see the fulfillment of prophecy. So God is very clear. Pray for two flags to become one, not to become one. Pray for Malema because his future, his story, his destiny is a president. Use wisdom when it comes to Zuma because he's going to be a major player, especially in this election as we have seen, but definitely next election. These things, guys, I've prophesied already last year. So during this election, there's going to be disruption. There's going to be a little bit of a disruption. But God's hand has been upon this election quite strong already. God's hand has been strong on this election. But do understand there are contracts, there are many things in place already set behind in for 10, 15, 20 years ahead in time. And it's not so much run by the parties, but it's run by players behind the scenes. So does your vote count? Yes, there is a way it counts, but there's also contracts put in place. It's not so easy just for a small Christian party to run a nation, because there are agendas that set in place. They're not going to allow that to happen. So let the church use wisdom. What are we supposed to do as a church? We're supposed to raise up presidents. We're supposed to raise up people in politics, send them into government, send them into politics, and take over every mountain, have dominion, take dominion, occupy till he comes, take over every mountain, government, politics, media, news, education, take over every mountain. That is the job of the church. Not to wait to escape to another reality. No. To take over, to occupy till he comes. That's your job. And now the churches say, no, the nation needs to repent for this and repent for that. Listen, the nation needs to repent for nothing. You can't have an unbeliever repenting and staying an unbeliever. What are they repenting for? What does the church have to repent for? Their sins are forgiven. No, the church has to stand up, make an influence, let the kingdom take over. Prayer is good, but action is more important. I believe people voted wisely. But above even all our votes is the hand of God that is operating. Even above the instigators that are behind the country, that actually runs the country. So that's an update on the prophecy. That's a fulfillment of the prophecy. This is just an update. Let's see what happens the next few days. God bless you. Tomorrow morning, guys, listen, tomorrow morning we have services. I want to see you at Krugersdorp, conference starting at Krugersdorp, 10 a.m. Then 5 p.m. It's our glory and it's our grace and power conference. Grace and power conference tomorrow. Don't miss it. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, myself and Pastor Josh McCauley. We have seen healings and miracles and grace unfolded like never before. The power of God. You don't want to miss it. I want to see all of you there. Let me know in the comments if you're coming. Tag people for them to come. Spread the word. We want to see the place packed. We want to see the power of God move. Can't wait for tomorrow morning and evening. God bless you.
I didn't get that.